Oh my gosh, hi everyone. Welcome back to Katie Can't Read. I'm Katie, I can read. Elise, care to
Hi, I'm Elise. My channel is The Petite Punk.
Yeah, and if you don't know what this is the Alice Oseman Readalong. Tonight we are discussing Solitaire and This Winter, both by Alice Oseman, both our last 2 weeks reads. Do you want to start this off by saying how we rated it?
Yes. So
Can we do what did we rate it first and now what?
So if you participated in our last live stream, you might have heard that I really disliked this book the first time I read it last year. I gave it 2 stars originally. I read the revised version for my reread and really enjoyed it. I gave it 3.5 stars, which I feel like my ratings, like the way I rate, have changed. So like my 2 stars last year was really more like a 1 star, and my 3.5 stars this year would have been like a 4 stars last year. But I really enjoyed it this time, which was surprising. And then this winter, I just gave it 3 stars both times. I liked it. It's just Alice has better books.
Yeah. I last time I read Solitaire, I think I gave it a 3 star, and then I upped to 3.5. It could have been a 4 star, but like I just wasn't getting that 4 star vibe from it the whole time.
Vibes, yes.
It might have been because I was reading it in like one night, but that is that. And then I kept this the same every time I've read it. It's felt the same, of like a true like 3 stars.
Wait, I lied. I gave it 4 stars.
Oh, wow.
I think truly in my heart,
rate novellas. I just kind of go with it.
Yeah, in my heart, it's more of a 3 stars, but I liked it more than Nick and Charlie. So I feel like it had to be a higher rating. You feel?
I absolutely feel. Let's see. Okay, in the chat, drop what like you rated the book. How are you feeling? What's the vibe? Who's your favorite character? And why is it Michael Holden? Because that's my favorite. I love him so much. Top 5 favorite Alice Oseman characters.
He's great. I love all those like weird puppy dog kind of characters. Hello, Anya.
I love golden retriever men. I love them so much.
Oh, I use that phrase all the time.
Michael Holden. There's a part where Michael, or someone says that Nick is the here it is. I tabbed it. This is Tori. Nick is actually the human embodiment of a golden retriever puppy. And I said, you got it. That's all I need.
I love Nick too.
I do too. Hi, Maury.
Hello.
Oh. At this rate, I'll be at the live shows for each book. I forget to read the book for it.
Maury, have you read any of the books? If not, how have I been talking to you for almost a year and you haven't picked up an Alice Oseman book? There's not peer pressure going around. If that's the case, I'll work on the peer pressure.
I've never read This Winter, but I rated Solitaire 3 out of 5. Yeah, that sounds about right. Ooh, 4.25 out of 5.
I'm interested. Do you know if you read the revised version or the original version?
I don't know if you read the revised or not. I don't know. I feel like Solitaire hits like people very deeply a lot of the time. Like what I've seen like on the internet is the people that like Solitaire, they like it because they relate, you know, story or to some aspect of it. And I think that's neat.
Agreed. Also, I realize I'm like agreeing so vigorously as I shake my head that my whole camera is moving.
You're like, yeah.
In my lap right now.
Hey. I don't remember anything that happened or any of the characters or anything. In fact, I'd probably change my rating to a 2 out of 5. Yeah, Solitaire is really just vibes. It's a character study. It's not really a plot book. It's the plot I hate. I think I actually would enjoy it more if the plot of Solitaire didn't exist. I agree. The Solitaire stuff I didn't care about. I wish it was like a coming of age thing about like her being friends with Michael and like, you know. It just escalates in weird ways that confuse me. Oh, yeah. I'm like, why did they go from, here we go, we're dropping into spoilers already, but why did they go from like playful little pranks about like Star Wars and all these things to like beating up a kid and then like, that was cool. Like it's that really short, like it's very tame, and then all of a sudden it just skyrockets and I'm like, all right. And it like goes out of nowhere, like it's almost like weird jump cuts, like Tori all of a sudden is just like, oh yes,
fireworks.
Feel like
They're
the
gonna kill
book
us.
originally,
Yeah.
yeah, it's almost like the book was originally a lot longer, and
Yeah.
then Alice had to cut a lot, and so now it's like jumpy.
I remember that's why I disliked it so much the first time, because I was like, I don't understand what's going on. I'm so confused.
Yeah, me too. And then there was the part with like the concert. The first time I read it, I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
This time I kind of got it. Hi. Gave her 2 out of 5. 2.5, sorry. It's okay. Yeah, it's a good book. It's not.
I rated it lower originally.
Like, I don't know. It's not like an awful book or anything. It's just not her best.
Yeah.
But that's also because it was her first book.
And she wrote it when she was like, what, 17? Or
Yeah.
published it when she was 17?
Yeah, it was like, you know what, like, props to her. I couldn't have done it.
Imagine being 17 and literally publishing the cutest cover to ever exist. Like,
it wasn't originally published with this cover.
oh yeah, was it the one with like the black cover?
Hold on, I have the old version too. With
oh my gosh, Katie's a collector. She has all of them. Oh yeah.
I got this one by accident, actually, the first time. I was trying to get this cover.
Mm-hmm.
I got this one instead in the mail, and I was like, I was so upset. But it ended up working out because
Alice is winning with her matching covers. Like,
dude,
the beautiful
her publisher.
Every book should be like this.
I agree. Oh,
but we can wear blankets on your channel.
Oh, we have no rules here. What are the difference between the two versions? So in the original version, there's a lot of like internalized misogyny that didn't age very well. A lot of scenes with Charlie and his mental health are very triggering, and a lot of them, like multiple times.
Like unnecessarily graphic. Like it didn't need to be.
Yeah, unnecessarily graphic. And then she ended up changing a lot of Nick's personality from the versions because Heartstopper was published in between the original and the revised, and Nick changed a lot, so she matched him. And those are like the biggest changes. A lot, like the book itself is the same story, same characters, but in terms of like, you know, the parts that matter, they're changed a little bit. The parts that didn't age well. But also, it was written in a different era, and so there's nothing really like, when it was published, there was nothing wrong with it.
Was it 2012 or 14?
14.
Yeah.
That was 7 years ago. Yeah, so I found that a lot of people who really love it, because Adelaide gave it a 4.25 out of 5. And so a lot of the times people who are like, oh, I loved it, it's because they're like very much relate to Tori or a lot of these things. I did find I related to Tori more, and I think that's actually why I don't like it, is I'm like, I don't like that I'm like this.
I love books like that.
That's for sure. But I commend it. I commend it. I couldn't. I couldn't write a book. Yeah, there's no plot.
I knew what was happening.
That's
I almost DNF'd it.
The plot was a weird one. I just think that there shouldn't be a plot.
100% agree. I mean, I already prefer character-driven books, but this one, the plot did nothing for it. Just absolutely nothing.
And I find that in the book, the parts I care about aren't the solitaire-related parts.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They're related to the friendships and the connections and Nick and like, and her relationship with her siblings and her parents, and all of that to me is way more interesting than Solitaire.
Well, all of her other books, for the most part, except for I Was Born for this, because I did not read that one. But none of them really have some huge outside external plot going on. It's all these like interpersonal relationships, and I love that much more than like the whole story involved. Yeah.
Yeah, I Was Born for This has a little bit of an external plot, but it's character-driven external plot.
Yeah,
it's like they have a decision they have to make.
And Alice is really good at characters, which is
so good. All of her characters are so well done. Even the ones that you're like, oh, I'm not supposed to like them. You don't like them. Like they're bad people.
I feel like if you read Solitaire first as your first Alice Oseman book and then read the other ones, I think it would be a different story because I read Solitaire like immediately after reading Radio Silence, which is my favorite Alice Oseman book, and like you can just tell that she's grown with her writing skills, but that doesn't change the fact that like it's not as strong of a story, and I just think in comparison it shows.
I agree. I read Solitaire very quickly after I read Loveless for the first time, which is my favorite Alice Oseman book.
Mhm.
So I agree. It was like that. I feel like if I had read Solitaire first, I would have liked it a lot more.
Wait, Katie, what was your first Alice Oseman book? Was it Loveless?
It was Loveless. And then I bought all of them and I binged all of them.
As you should.
In like a weekend. And it was very fun. It was very fun. She really does most. That's the only thing though about Solitaire is it's like I want a strong friend group. Like the friend group isn't very strong.
Yeah. I think that's kind of why I related to it more, but I like books where I can relate to the character, but then it has elements that like I wish I had in my own life, if that makes sense. This felt like I could be part of that book.
I wish I had Michael Holden as a best friend.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I want to know if that's a Catcher in the Rye reference, because the main character in Catcher in the Rye is Holden Caulfield.
Yeah.
It has to be a reference. They literally reference.
I think it is. They talk. It's very much like, oh, Catcher in the Rye. They talk a lot about that. Aha, Radio Silence first. I feel like a lot of people read Radio Silence first.
That used to be her most popular book, and then people found Heartstopper. They're like, Heartstopper.
Well, and Radio Silence was her most popular for a long time, so it was the only one published in other countries for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, it's the most popular one. It's accessible.
It is.
That's fair. That's completely fair. Maybe her next one, there'll be a character that you relate to.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. What do you have to say about this one, Miss Elise?
Well, you're about to say what was fun, and there's nothing fun in this book. Let's just say that right now. There is no
fun scene. Disagree.
Oh, really?
Where Michael is like, let's go watch Beauty and the Beast before the Charlie scene. That is the best scene.
I take it back. Never mind. Take it back. There is some fun. A little sprinkling of fun.
A little fun. There's a little fun in there. I think that scene is hilarious. And because she's sitting there and she's just like bullying the movie. And then she's like, why is Michael crying?
Michael is lovely. Just a false character.
I love their relationship in this book because it's like they're sort of like dating the whole time, but neither of them realize it.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite.
I remember when I first read it, because like if anyone didn't read the book or didn't read the physical copy, it says right on the cover, this is not a love story. And spoiler, it becomes not like a love story, but there is romance in it. And I remember like the first time I read it, I was so mad. I was like, I've been tricked. This is a love story. Did not feel that way at all the second time around. And if anything, I almost forgot that there was something going on romantically. Yeah. But yeah, I was harsh on this book last year. Just kind to it, unforgiving.
I love that this is not a love story is the tagline for this book because it's something Tori would say.
Yeah.
Like that is so what she would say. She'd be like, it's not a love story. Mm-hmm. I hate love stories. I think Tori's a really interesting character. I like her better as a side character personally. Yeah. But it's also hard because I don't know. I don't love a mental illness story very much. It's not my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that her narration is the way she is because she's very depressed and just doesn't realize it. just doesn't want to acknowledge it. That's the thing that I think this book does really well, and that's what I picked up on this entire time I was rereading it, was how well Alice handles the in denial about your own mental health. Like, it's so accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because with Tori, she lives in this like world essentially where there's people right next to her who have it worse. So she's like, oh, I can't have this because my brother has it way worse. Like, so I think that's handled really well in this.
Agreed. I always have like a hard time assessing my feelings when it comes to characters like this, because I feel like I really relate to things like this, and like the constant overbearing pessimism in every aspect of her life. I mean, I feel like especially like middle school and high school days, like I get that, but also it's not something I particularly enjoy reading, just because it just is it's a lot. I was a lot in high school. Like, and I think that's why books like Heartstopper and like Radio Silence, they have those mental health aspects, but they balance it with other things. And in that way, it's still tackling these mental health issues, but then it doesn't become so consuming that you're like, oh yes, I remember what depression feels like. Like,
yeah. That was the one thing I don't like about this book, is as I'm reading it, I'm like, oh, so this is what I felt like in high school when I was depressed.
Exactly.
No. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I see you, Alice. I see what you're saying.
But you know what? It makes so much sense, because Alice was 17 when she published it, probably younger when she read it or wrote it, and it reads like someone who's that age.
I think that's what makes it good, actually. Like, I think that's the enduring quality of it, is it very much feels like Tori is 17. It doesn't feel like I'm 35 writing a 17-year-old.
Exactly.
Like, it feels 17. It feels true. And I love to read things that are fiction but feel true.
Yeah.
So absolutely. That's what I do enjoy about this. There actually wasn't a lot that I didn't like on my reread. The only thing I didn't
same. No surprise.
was the Solitaire plot. Like, really the only thing that I was like, this isn't fun.
I totally agree.
Because a lot of the most interesting moments aren't even directly related to Solitaire. Like, I personally think that the scene where everyone finds out about Ben Hope is the best and most interesting scene in the entire book, and it has nothing to do with Solitaire itself.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked the way Heartstopper, I can't remember. Once I read a book, it leaves my brain, so that's why I'm only mentioning Heartstopper since we just reread it. But I liked how everything kind of had to deal with like their own feelings and their own processes for healing. I feel like that would have worked best for a plot in Solitaire instead of some weird, prank-oriented blog. But, I mean, it wasn't terrible.
Tori is a really complex character. I also love how unreliable she is as a narrator. Like, she's real unreliable. I really enjoy Tori. Like, very much so.
Yeah, agreed.
I always have, though. I think she's I also think she's fun. What I like, too, and this is something I picked up on the reread, is as Tori gets worse, she gets less funny.
Yeah.
So at the very beginning, she's really funny. And like every couple pages, like there's a funny joke and yada yada yada. And as it goes on, she just slowly loses it. And then by the end, she cracks a joke again, and so you can see her healing. But like I thought that's a really subtle thing, and it just shows how good Alice is as an author to pull that off at 17.
Agreed.
Like, oh my goodness. Queen.
Not to keep comparing Solitaire to Heartstopper, but
they're kind of the same story.
Another thing that I remember really liking about Heartstopper that I kind of wish was more present here was just the involvement of the other characters in Nick and Charlie's life. So like when Charlie's mental health became so much worse, we saw how his parents reacted to that. We saw how his friends reacted to that. We saw how his sibling, Tori, reacted to that. And I kind of wish we got more of those reactions and delving into those relationships in Solitaire. I mean, like we did get that with some of the very close characters, but I just kind of wanted to see
Like, we kind of did get that, because towards the beginning of, like, the part 2 section, there's a lot of characters who are like, are you okay?
Yeah, that's true.
And then it's always her, like, snapping. She's like, I'm fine. I'm not,
Yeah.
like, nothing's wrong with me. And so I think it shows that, and I think that's the difference of having, like, a graphic novel versus a first-person prose novel, is that in first-person prose, we only get one thought. So if Tori doesn't see them as helpful, then they're not.
Yeah, that's
really helpful. Whereas in an omniscient graphic novel, then, like, we can be like, okay, they're helpful. Like, oh, there they are, being helpful. I love, too, how I'm going to go into my Michael.
Please, we've been waiting.
What I like about Michael Holden specifically is how complicated he becomes. Like, in the first couple chapters, like, okay, sweet, golden retriever boy, you know, he's just hanging out, walking around, having a good time, cracking some jokes, being a little weird. I never really thought he was that weird. Like, everyone in the books is like, he's weird. Like, don't hang out with him, he's really weird. I'm like, what does he do that's weird? Where's his red flag? Can't find one. And then we get to, like, after he loses the skate, what do you call it? The race?
His competition thingy.
Yeah, once he loses competition, then you see, oh, so he has anger issues, and he very much is. He vibes as like, he gives me like some ADHD vibes. Love him, his energy. But I feel like he just gets more complicated and interesting.
Yeah. And I also liked that they fought, Tori and Michael, because I feel like sometimes with those golden retriever characters, once in a while we don't see them angry. Like, they're very forgiving, and kind of get pushed around in a way. I liked that he got angry.
They fight a few times too.
I know, and I liked that because Tori deserved that. She was not nice to him.
Oh, she was so mean to him, and I was like, girl, he's the best in this book. Be friends with him.
Yeah, but it just felt very real. The reactions to things and the fighting.
The thing is, though, if I had only read Solitaire, Tori and Michael are the only characters that I feel like are fleshed out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't remember any of the other characters.
Like,
Nick just read it today.
Are in this book, but if I hadn't read Heartstopper and everything else about them, I wouldn't know anything about them. I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, no, I agree. Anyway, I kind of liked that. I feel like there's a line between not really developing your secondary characters, but also
not shoving it down our throats.
Yeah, because I was a little worried when I was reading this book, because I read Radio Silence, and then with Heartstopper, I just knew everyone loved these characters, Nick and Charlie, and I just assumed these books were about Nick and Charlie. And then I was like a little worried it was going to be like, well, it's not about Nick and Charlie, but let me give you the queer relationships anyways, and like have it about them. But I think it's a decent balance. I think Alice could have fleshed out some more characters, but
I don't think Nick and Charlie were the ones that need to be fleshed out.
Yeah, no.
I think that the ones that need. I wish that I knew more about Lucas, because the whole time I was like, bruh, why are you even here? And then I feel like I didn't know Becky well enough.
Yeah, me either.
Like, I wish I got to know Becky.
Agreed.
And I wish I got to know Lucas, so that way I could actually not like him by the end of the book.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to not like him at the end? I can't remember.
This
morning.
I want to say no, we don't. I think it would be an interesting novella, because you know how they're like BFFs before. I would want to see like a novella of that and how that evolved.
Being kids.
Yeah, being kids.
First grade. Playing games. Or whatever the British version of first grade is.
Yeah, I never know what sixth form means. I just go, yes.
Sixth form. I feel like every one of her books talks about sixth form.
Of course, sixth form. Wait, don't mind me. I need to Google that. Is that like the equivalent of high school?
I don't know, but it's only 2 years.
Oh. What is sixth form? Because it's been haunting me. Well, this didn't help me at all. I just got the most British explanation.
What is British?
Compared
My
to...
favorite thing about reading these books is being like, I don't understand England. Like,
okay, this is gonna have to be research for another day.
yeah, the solitaire plot is weak.
Yeah, it's not good. It could have been good, but I just don't think it was fleshed out enough, and it had like weird skips, and it just escalated in a way that didn't really make sense.
Yeah.
Like, I still don't really understand the intentions behind it. Like, she wrote an explanation, but it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no, I don't get it. Lucas is a teen boy.
You're falling.
This is fair. You liked him in the beginning, but hated him by the end. He was just so annoying when he was ignoring Tori. I agree. Yeah. I agree. I don't like Lucas personally, but I'm not sure if like we as readers are supposed to like him or supposed to hate him. I do think this book has one of the best like ending lines ever, though, where like they're in the car or whatever, and she says, "All I know is that I'm here and I'm alive and I'm not alone." Like that's such a good voice for her. Like, queen.
Agreed.
I would love. I don't know. Well, we are going to get more Tori in Volume 5 of Heartstopper, and I just want to see how she is after Solitaire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm glad we're going to get that kind of closure in the next year.
Mm-hmm. What I did really like about Solitaire is in the cameos Tori makes in any of the other books, she's like still portrayed as like the broody, moody, angsty older sister. Oop, ignore my dog. But she just reminds me of like the stereotypical Tumblr teen, just like, I'm better than everyone else. But like in this book, Solitaire, you understand that she has some serious mental health problems. She is dealing with a lot of stuff. It's not just like, I'm cooler than all of you, hate people. Like,
yeah, and the thing about her that I think is so interesting too is I think she is naturally like a broody, moody type. Because like even in, like scene, like even in like the like there was like a flashback of her and Becky at one point. It was like minimal, but it was like she was always very like not like other girls.
Yeah.
To use that phrase, but you know what I mean?
I've used that phrase many times when referring to this book.
I'm not like other girls.
Oh my gosh. She has like the stereotypical not like other girls personality. She would literally say like, I don't like people, no one wants to be my friends. And Michael's literally here like, want to be friends? And she's like, no
like, can we be best friends?
But there was just some parts that I thought were so funny. They were so stereotypical, like thinking you're not like other girls when you're really like other girls. Like when she's dressed up as Wednesday Addams and like,
I'm not
no one's gonna know who I am. No one knows who Wednesday Addams is. Like, you sure? And then there was one line in the book.
It's unreliable.
It was so funny.
Laptop.
There was like a part in the book where like there were a bunch of teenagers and they're like, oh my gosh, we're trying to figure out what this song was. What's this song? We don't know what it is. And it was literally like a Nirvana song. Like, yeah, it was probably Smells Like Teen Spirit or something. Like, yeah, okay, Tori, you're the only one who knows that song ever.
In the whole world ever. You're the only one
made just for you, only for your ears.
Ooh. Yeah. I don't know. Let's see what this is.
You should always reread Heartstopper.
Reread Heartstopper. I don't know. I don't think Tori reads differently.
I don't think she reads differently. I just think if you hadn't read Solitaire, you just wouldn't have a deeper understanding of her personality. Like, again, like I said, it's the same like moody, broody, dry sarcasm, but you don't get a lot of her own struggles and mental health in Heartstopper.
Yeah, and who she is as a person.
And to be fair, it's not her story.
Not her story. I do think it's really smart of Alice Oseman to portray Charlie and Tori as completely different people, but even their stories are so fundamentally different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not just in the fact that Heartstopper is a romance and Solitaire is more of a coming of age thing. It's like the way that the tone feels. It's the way that Heartstopper is very hopeful and bright and beautiful and fun, and like that's kind of how Charlie is, and then Solitaire is broody and moody and not like other girls because that's who Tori is. And I think she just really understands her characters and what their stories should be, and I think that's art.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not going to go too much into the other books because we haven't, well, technically we haven't read it for the book club yet, but every single book just has a different tone to it. But like they're all similar because I enjoyed them all, and like I liked the vibe in all of the books that were pretty consistent. But each book matches the characters so well. Like Loveless, completely different than Solitaire, and nothing is similar. Well, there's definitely.
I love Loveless.
I know. Same with Radio Silence. I like Radio Silence. You get the same lonely, kind of confused vibes, but it's just a different character, as it should be.
It has a totally different, like it has a similar vibe, but it's also totally different. And the vibe is really similar because it's both the same author.
Yeah. Here's my profound point. Not to toot my own horn here, but I feel like at the core of all her books, there's just like this theme of loneliness for some more than others, but just kind of like finding your place in the world and being just kind of confused and not feeling understood, which is a very teenage thing, but every single character experiences it so differently.
Because every person experiences it.
Yeah, and which is amazing, and I love that.
So good. So good. Would we like to talk about this winter for a second?
Absolutely.
Because I think this is fine.
Agreed.
Like it gives me some context, but it's also like not my fave.
Yeah. I feel like novellas in general, they're fun when you're a diehard fan and you just want any content available, which clearly I am a fan. I am running this thing with you. But I feel like a lot of times they are kind of unnecessary.
Yeah. What I do love about this winter is how I love the Nick and Charlie moments in this winter. Like the way that Nick is like so supportive of him the whole time and just gets it, you know?
Yeah.
And I like Tori in this winter a lot.
Oh, absolutely, me too. And Oliver.
Favorite.
I like that he got a chapter. This is so cute.
I think that this winter Tori is the best Tori.
Oh, agreed. Because you see the dynamic between Tori and Charlie really well.
Yeah, because I love the scene, like the very first couple pages where Oliver wakes her up Christmas morning, and then just all three of them are hanging out. Like I love the sibling relationship between the three of them, and it just makes me very happy inside.
Yeah,
they're so cute.
I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, this one and the other novella are both very much centered on like conflict, which like all books have conflict in them. But if I were to request a novella from Alice Oseman, I would want not like the whole misunderstanding based plot and like conflict and all that. I would just want like a fanfic feeling vibe of just fluff. Just 100 pages of just
straight vibes.
Like literally just give me a novella of Nick and Charlie seeing a movie together. Like
give me that, please.
Have them like talking at 2 a.m. about like just that.
Prom. Give me prom.
There you go. You're onto something.
I loved Oliver's perspective because I feel like, I don't know, I love how she kind of keeps Oliver out of the loop. As in like Alice. Like I kind of love it because it's really fun to see what Oliver thinks of what's going on.
Yeah.
7-year-old eyes. And I also think she's the only author that could ever write a 7-year-old, and for me to be like, that's fairly realistic.
I also liked in Oliver's perspective, it was him talking to their mom.
Yeah.
Their mom was kind of like explaining it in a way that a 7-year-old could explain or could understand, but also not, skirting over it. Like she was explaining that Charlie was ill and also explaining that she was not handling everything great on that day. So I liked that.
Yeah, they do. She does a really good job handling how parents react and like the different level of parent reactions and supportive parents and not supportive parents. Like she does a really good job with that. I do think this is my favorite page ever though. Where he's like, "Dear Santa, I would like the new Mario Kart and a tractor."
I will say this. So I listened to the audiobook for the first time I read this winter and then the physical book for my reread. I think I enjoyed the audiobook more.
Okay. Yeah.
I just liked the narration. It was fun to hear their voices, but
the different actors for all three of them?
I don't remember. I just distinctly remember Charlie's voice, and I was like, wow, that's not what I would have imagined. But I was definitely missing out with all the fun illustrations.
The illustrations are what makes it worth it.
I just think all those neat illustrations. It's just so cute.
She should annotate all her books.
Can you imagine having like that many skills? Like you're able to like crank out multiple prose novels and graphic novels, and then you can just illustrate your novels, like just how you see it in your head. Can you imagine? Like, give some talent to the rest of us.
Share with me, please.
I know.
Share, please. What else do we have to say? Anyone in the chat have any thoughts? Things we want to discuss? I don't really have much to say about either of these. I'm like,
there's just not a lot to them.
They were books.
Yeah.
Like, Solitaire, it doesn't hit me personally in a way that, like, I feel like I can talk about it for a really long time. Like, I definitely will for Loveless, where we'll be sitting here and it'll be like 2 hours later and I'll be like, and another thing.
Hold on. People knocking on my door.
Rude. But yeah.
Yeah. This was like the kind of book you read and you're like, okay, that was good. And then it doesn't really stick with you.
Yeah.
At least for me. But
I'm going to keep it on my shelf because the whole collection.
It's gorgeous.
This is what I did like about this winter. I like that we got the cousins, the grandparents, the aunts and uncles, like.
Agreed.
Family drama caused by family trauma just hits different, you know? Just hits. And I don't know. I really think it's interesting too with this winter how much, I don't know, like how much of Charlie's time, like couple months, was kept a secret from everyone.
Yeah.
Like I just think that's interesting. I don't like. There's no good or bad about it. Just intriguing to me that I'm like, okay, so that's what his parents think, or that's what he thinks about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I just think it's fun. I also love how much they play Mario Kart in this family.
Same. It's cute. Like all three siblings wanting to spend time with each other. Enjoyed that.
I love when siblings love each other.
Same. That's my favorite dynamic in books.
I know. But we don't see a lot of it, I feel like. A lot of times siblings like don't like each other. And so to see like a healthy sibling relationship where they support each other where the parents don't and vice versa. Like, so good.
Also, I'm sorry if you keep seeing me looking down, texting my mom. They were knocking on my door and didn't realize it was on YouTube.
Live on YouTube.
You know, as one does as a cool 20-year-old, you know, that's how I spend my time.
As a cool 20-year-old.
So cool.
Spend my time live on YouTube.
I promise when we read the other books, we'll have much more to say. These are just
the next
strongest books.
Yeah, the next 3 are like awesome. Like I could go on and on and on about the next couple books. So with that, I hope, okay, here we go. Here's something we can talk about. I would love if we get enough seasons of the Heartstopper show to start to touch into a little bit of this.
Yes.
Like, I would really love that. Because I feel like it was said somewhere that that Netflix does have the rights to Solitaire as well. Like, any property associated with Heartstopper, they own right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it would be interesting. Although I just don't know if people like. Do you mean incorporating some of this into Heartstopper, or like have this adapted?
Oh no, putting this as like a season 4 or something, and then like running it alongside, like maybe keeping the focus on Nick and Charlie, but maybe putting this as a B plot.
Yeah.
I would be down for that personally. I would be down for that.
Agreed. I feel like for a wider audience, they wouldn't enjoy it that much, or I don't think as many people would enjoy it as Nick and Charlie, but I would enjoy it.
Like Nick and Charlie would still be doing their thing, relationship drama, whatever, and then Tori would be doing her thing underneath.
Yeah.
Just saying. I do love that Tori Spring loves a diet lemonade. What is a diet lemonade? I know what lemonade is. I didn't know they come in diet, but I think it's hilarious.
Yeah. Great.
Very into it.
Diet lemonade doesn't taste good, so just...
Ew, that makes sense for her. Also, why was there a Halloween costume party in January of this book? I was so confused when I was reading it. I was like, she's at a full costume party in January. No shade, but like, it felt weird.
Yeah, but all of the characters are a little weird, so it's okay.
Right? That's what's funny is when they're like, Michael Holden is so weird. I'm like, shut up.
Probably the most normal in there, let's be real.
All of you are weird. Not a single one of you is not weird. Just because Michael is cooler than all of you could ever understand doesn't mean he's weird.
Agreed.
I love Michael Holden. More, please.
Do we think Katie likes Michael? I just couldn't tell from this live show.
I can't. He's the only reason this book is like worth reading to me. I'm like, when people are like, should I read Solitaire? I'm like, yes, but only for Michael Holden. Only for him. I specifically can't wait to talk about his cameo in Radio Silence next time.
That's our next book, right?
Yeah, that's our next book. Are we good? Are we ready? Or do we want to wrap up, or do we have more to say?
I'm good to wrap up because my mom keeps texting me.
I'm good too.
But yeah, we will definitely have more to say for our last 3 discussions, I think, because again, these are just...
Yeah, these are just fillers.
Yeah, they are. They are cute. They are really cute.
I think actually this winter has my favorite.
Really?
Look, the light bulb with a snow.
Really cute.
It's so good.
Alice just has infinite amounts of creativity. I'm almost jealous. If I didn't appreciate it so much, I'd almost be jealous.
It's so good. It's so good. All right, so the next live stream will be in 2 weeks on Elise's channel. We will be discussing Radio Silence, and that's it. We're done with the novellas, so we will just be talking about Radio Silence, and we will have much to say about Radio Silence.
We will have much, capital M.
Capital M, much to say about Radio Silence.
Wait till Loveless comes around. We'll have so much more.
When I have a lecture and I'm pacing the room, sharing about.
Have 2-hour-long live show. And y'all have to stay the entire time. Just kidding. You don't.
All right, my friends. Thank you so much for being here. Like, subscribe to Elise, because you should always be if you're on my channel. Gosh. Subscribe to Elise if you are not already. And keep reading with us. We will be reading Radio Silence from now until like July something.
And someone yelled at us if we don't announce it on Twitter. Because
I'm going to do it right now.
We're not good at that.
Read Radio Silence right now.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much. We will see y'all later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.